Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the channel where I'll be documenting my journey to becoming a neuropsychologist. Wow. I can't believe I'm here. Today was such a good day. Oh my gosh, today was such a great day. I've been meaning to do an intro video for this channel, but today I was like, nah, fam, like today we have to start. Today is it. So today is February the 27th, and I started school on the 12th of February, but we only had orientation that week, which was exactly on the 12th of Feb, and then the following week we had one class. Last week Monday we had one class, so I was busy with other things. I was busy with my dissertation. I was busy with figuring out my YouTube channel, because I have another YouTube channel. Like I was just busy with other stuff, so I didn't feel the need to record. I did have moments where I wanted to record, but I didn't feel the need to record. But this week honey, like, when you make a decision in life to stop everything else or to quit other things to pursue one thing, and then it's the right thing for you, then it just works out, then it just feels like this is the right thing to do. Man, today's classes were that. So okay, before I break down what I mean by quitting other things, right? Because I quit a job in accounting to come back to school full-time to study neuropsychology. So I'll break down my journey with that. But first, let me break down the three classes that I've had this week. So neuropsychology is a type of psychology. There's a lot of different types of psychology. If you're thinking of studying psychology, please do the research. There's occupational psychology. There is, they call it OxPsych at UCT. There is industrial psych. I'm not sure if it's the same thing. It sounds like the same thing, but I'm not sure if it's the same thing. There's industrial psychology. There's educational psychology. There's the popular one, which is clinical psychology, which is your therapist that you see for your depression, your anxiety, there's the clinical psychologist, and then there's neuropsychology. Neuropsychology is very, I want to say new, but it's not really new, but I think it's so scarce in South Africa. Like, the number of neuropsychologists that we have in this country are so limited that it still feels new. And UCT is the only university in South Africa that provides neuropsychology as a qualification, So if you want to be a neuropsychologist, UCT is your only option. And UCT only takes 6 master students every year for neuropsychology. So that is part of the reason why the numbers for neuropsychology are so limited. That is why the number of neuropsychologists in the country are so limited, right? So anyway, my classes, honey, that confirmed to me that I am in the right place. So yesterday in the morning, I had we have a module called I think it's neuroanatomy. It has 3 names, so because we have to learn all 3: neuroanatomy, neuropathology, and neuroimaging. It's one module. So we had that, and the class yesterday was like a brief overview of everything that we're going to learn in the year. So it was overwhelming. Oh my gosh, it was overwhelming. Like, if you think you know the brain and you are doing your undergrad in psychology or your honors in psychology, you don't. Like, yesterday's class, I was like, when something is a passion, right? Like when you like something, because I love the human brain. I've loved the human brain since I was like early varsity. When I was doing my accounting degree, which is a story that I need to get into. But at that point, I loved the human brain. So, like, practical things, like normal things, like I was very proud of myself that before I could even step into a psychology class, I already knew about like the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, occipital lobe, the temporal lobe. I knew about the hemispheres. I knew about neurotransmitters. That was my flex. Yesterday's class, honey. Nothing else. Like, yesterday's class, I'll put like one slide here. just to show like how deep yesterday's class was. And it was like, yo man, yo, there's a lot of learning that needs to happen, because neuropsychology is it's the in-between neurology and psychology, you know. So so what we do is we study, I don't want to use big terminology, but I'll start with that and then I'll change it. So we study physiological processes of the nervous system and related to behavior and cognition. And we study also the dysfunction and neurological disorders and dysfunctions of the brain, and relate that to behavior and cognition. So basically, how do I say this simply? Basically, we study the brain itself, like how would I say, sociological processes, but how the brain is set up, how the brain is structured first of all, right? How it's structured, how it's meant to function, and so it's how it's structured firstly, because we need to know the mechanism, and how it's meant to function, right? How it functions normally. And then we focus on, so this is how it's structured, this is how it functions, and this is how people behave, or this is the cognitive result of it functioning normally. That's right. But then we focus on disorders of when the brain is not functioning well, when you have a brain tumor. What are the behavioral outcomes of a brain tumor? What is the cognitive outcomes of a brain tumor? Like what? So if let's say a normal brain, right? You can count 1 up to 10. So when you are fine, you can count 1 up to 10. That's fine. That's perfect. Then you have a disorder, a neurological disorder, or you have a brain tumor. You have something that is not going right in your brain. Né? Now you suddenly can count up to 10 straight, or there's certain numbers that are missing, or like you can see. This is something I learned today. Like if it's so much information. Gosh, okay, let me try and slow down. So there's a syndrome that we learned about today in class, and I'll put the name here because I'm not going to try to pronounce this right now, but it's spelled Gerstmann syndrome, right? The people with it have 4 symptoms. They have, my gosh, I'm not going to try to pronounce. The thing is, I can spell all the words, but the pronunciation is something else. But for instance, when dealing with patients that have that syndrome, all right, if you apparently count, if you tell them this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nah? A normal person can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 their fingers, and if you ask them to close their hands and you ask them, what finger am I holding, they will say it's finger number 2, because one of the guys, I'm still a student, like this is my 2nd day in class, so I could be giving you the wrong information, but what I'm trying to tell you is that sometimes your brain doesn't function as normally as it's supposed to, and it's caused by a condition, and we work with neurologists that know that condition, and other people on the patient's medical team, to then try and assist, to then see how does this condition that you have affect your behavior, how does it affect your cognition. Cognition is mental process, so cognition includes things like your attention. Are you able to attend? Are you able to memory, information processing, working memory, executive function, like mental processes is what cognition is. So every time I say cognition, I'm speaking about mental processes. Anyway, back to the whole counting thing, right? If I get this wrong, I will correct it in 3 years when I am qualified. So if you ask that patient what finger you're holding, they will say you're holding finger number 2. That could be because part of their symptoms, they have left to right disorganization. So, you know, it could be caused by a lot of things. It could be caused by, I don't know, why would they say 2? And if you touch this finger, they could say 1. You know, why would they say 1 and not 5? You know, but those are the type of things that we deal with. So the point of this channel, after rambling, the point of this channel is for me to share my journey of becoming a neuropsychologist, because when I was looking for neuropsychology, firstly, I thought I was going to have to go back to medical school to study medicine and then specialize in neuropsychology until I found the program at UCT. So I have this channel to share the information on neuropsychology and its existence in the country, and just how to become a neuropsychologist in the country. I know now that the HPCSA has opened the registry, and that clinical psychologists that have practiced as neuropsychologists for more than 5 years, and I don't know what the other requirements are, they can register as neuropsychologists. But I'm training straight off the bat as a neuropsychologist, and that's what I would like to share. I'd like to share the information in terms of UCT, how I got into UCT. I mostly think it's God. I mostly think it's God, but there are other things that I had to do, of course. You know, I mean, God put me here, but God couldn't have put me here if I was getting 40s at school, you know. So also to share that, to share some study tips. Like, at this point, I'm a professional student. I mean, I did my accounting degree, I went to go work, and then I did a personal training certificate, and then I started my fitness business, and then I went and I did my undergrad in psychology, I did my honors in psychology, and now I'm doing my master's in psychology. So, like, at this point, I'm a professional student. Yeah, if someone called me a professional student, they wouldn't be wrong. So also to share tips of how to study as a psychology student, and how to grow, I have a lot of friends now that are doing clinical psych, and that are doing research psychology, and that are doing neuropsychology. So maybe also having a conversation with them, how they got here, learning about their journey, and could be quite interesting. But the point of this channel is to let you know that I am training as a clinical neuropsychologist, and I'm going to share my journey on this channel, and to remind you that there are different types of psychology. So if you're thinking of being a psychologist, just know that there's different kinds of psychologists in the country. There's actually a lady that does a master's at UJ, I think. She has a whole channel on that, and maybe I'll leave her video on my description of this video, so that when you do your research about which kind of psychology could work for you, then watch that video. I think it's very has a lot of information, so I think it's great. As for me, I love the human brain. I love neuroscience, I love neurology, I love the neuroimaging, I love neuroanatomy, and but I also love behavior, I love consciousness, I love I love people, I love human behavior. So I needed an industry, and I needed a field that's going to combine the two, and neuropsychology was the option for me. One of my close friends is against biology, and she was like, no, I can't do neuropsychology because it's going to come with a lot of biology, and I can't get biology. So if you are a fan of psychology but you don't like biology, maybe neuropsychology is not for you, but everything else is great. Neuropsychology is great. Today and yesterday's classes were great. That's what I wanted to share about my classes. So I had the neuro what class yesterday, which is, I said, it's neuroanatomy, neuropathology, and neuroimaging. That was yesterday morning. And then late in the day, well, immediately after the class, I had pediatric neuropsychology, where we focused purely on epilepsy and pediatric. Every time I say pediatric, guys, I'm talking about children. It's psychology, it's neuropsychology for children. So we were talking about epilepsy in children, and yeah, so I had that yesterday. Quite interesting, very interesting classes, so awesome. And then today I had adult neuropsychology, the first class of adult neuropsychology. It was intro, so we didn't do too much. We did do a lot, but we didn't do too much. But I will say that those classes left me feeling like, I'm in the right space. I finally found it. Like, I finally found what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, yeah, no. Bless the Lord. I bless the Lord. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for coming to, yeah, for liking, for sharing, for subscribing. Please do all of that. Thank you so much for following my journey. If you know someone that wants to be a neuropsychologist, please recommend my channel to them. I will try and share about the journey of neuropsychology as much as I can, to educate someone that is maybe in a place that I used to be in, where I almost went the completely wrong route. I almost took the wrong route. I almost went to go back to first year to study medicine, when all I needed was to go back to first year and study psychology. So if there's somebody out there that's maybe in the same place as me, please share this video with them. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.